All right, we're going to do another steam boiler service today. This time turned out to be a little bit different from the last time you saw me do this. Actually, on the water side of this, it was pretty clean, but then when I went and looked at the burners, uh-oh. I don't know if you saw those crispy wires there, but this thing is definitely not drafting out. So I took all these burners out to get a better idea of what I was looking at, and I pulled the top cover of the boiler so that I could get the draft hood off. And while I was waiting for somebody to come and bring me some brushes and some other stuff, I decided to take everything else apart so I could continue the rest of my service. You see here, I'm going to take apart these vents so that I can look inside of the chimney. And I have to take the vent out anyway to get the rest of the boiler apart. So I got the draft hood off, and then the next part is actually a little bit harder to get off. I started cleaning out the burner tray. You can see all the refractory cement and everything that fell in there. Look at these burners. Trashed. But I started cleaning them up because I'm still waiting on some stuff to come. And here's Tommy. Tommy showed up. He wanted to get his hands dirty for 5 minutes, so I let him do a little bit of it. Sits around in his office making price books, so I know he's, he misses being out here. So what you just saw was in between the boiler sections, and the left and right side of the boiler was like completely plugged up. I spent about an hour and a half with brushes just working them back and forth in there. Shined a light through it so I could see and make sure I could get down to the burner from all of the sections. And there's a little weep hole on the end. I don't know if you see that little calcium buildup, but that's going to come back to bite me. So everything that dropped out from there, I had to go into the burner chamber and clean all of that stuff out. That was probably another hour of doing that because I had to scrape the bottom really good. Then I had to scrape off all of these burners. I'm doing the same thing with a brush. Then I went back with a wire brush. Then I went back with a Scotch-Brite pad and emery cloth. That probably took me about an hour to do that. Now I had to put these bolts back in and put the draft hood back on. If you take a little loose piece of insulation off of the side of the boiler and stick it in there to hold the bolt, that'll save your life someday in the future because dropping those bolts really sucks. And look at that. Look how nice and clean that burner tray is. Beautiful. I put the whole thing back together so that I could get back to the rest of my service. And then I just finished like I always do. I had the low water cutoff off. I cleaned that, put that back on. I had taken the pressure troll off and the gauge, and I put all that stuff back on, cleaned the pigtail, cleaned the gauge glass, filled it up, and I filled it up high just to see, and this boiler was leaking. So I got it running for now because realistically it's leaking on the steam side, but realistically we're going to have to do something about that. The old man appreciates the time I put into this, so he's probably just going to buy a new boiler from me. But here's a candid shot of the steam coming up out of the chimney. Anyway, see you on the next one.